Aba, say the name anywhere in Nigeria, and reactions follow instantly. Reactions like made in Aba, leather shoes, cheap bags, also city. But behind these cliches lies something more powerful. A city that quietly manufactures wealth. A city that employs millions without government assistance. A city whose traders control supply chains stretching from China to Dubai, from Istanbul to Johannesburg, from Accra to Nairobi. This is Aba, not merely a commercial town, but a self-organizing industrial ecosystem. Yet, for decades, Aba has been misunderstood, mocked, ignored, underfunded, and yet, somehow, it refuses to collapse. In fact, Aba thrives. Tonight, 1010 Media takes you beyond the markets, beyond the stereotypes, beyond the headlines, into the real story of Aba. How it became Nigeria's indigenous manufacturing capital, why its informal economy rivals structured industries, how its people turned survival into innovation, and why Aba may be Africa's most underestimated industrial city. This is not just a story of a place. This is a story of African resilience. Welcome to Aba. Long before Aba became a manufacturing powerhouse, it was a riverine trading settlement, strategically positioned between the hinterland and the Atlantic trade routes of the Niger Delta. The Aba River itself served as a commercial artery, connecting local producers to coastal merchants. Palm oil, kernels, rubber, timber, these commodities flowed through Aba towards global markets in the late 19th century and early 20th centuries. But Aba's transformation truly accelerated during British colonial rule. The British built railway connection linking Aba to Port Harcourt, enabling exports and imports to move faster. Roads emerged, warehouses multiplied, trading posts expanded. Aba became a nerve center for produce, trade in eastern Nigeria. But unlike colonial towns built solely around administration, Aba grew as a merchant city, a city driven by traders, craftsmen, transporters, warehouse operators, apprentices, and informal entrepreneurs. And that merchant DNA never left. Even after independence, while other cities focused on bureaucracy and oil wealth, Aba doubled down on production, not consumption, production. Shoemakers, tailors, textile workers, metal fabricators, leather processors, plastic molders, auto spare parts assemblers, furniture makers, welders, and mechanics. What Aba created was not a factory town, but a distributed factory city. Thousands of workshops, millions of hands, one continuous production ecosystem, no industrial estate, no master plan, no government blueprint, just people, building, manufacturing, supplying, adapting, surviving, and thriving. At the heart of Aba's industrial powerhouse lies Ariaria International Market, one of Africa's most unique economic ecosystems. Ariaria is not just a market, it is a manufacturing city within a city. Shoes are not only sold here, they are designed, stitched, molded, assembled, branded, packaged, and distributed here. Bags are not only imported, they are created. Belts, wallets, sandals, school shoes, boots, slippers, safety footwears, entire product lines emerge daily from tiny workshops lining narrow alleys. Each cluster specializes. Here, Soul makers, there, cutters, across stitches. Beside them, polishers, down the lane, wholesalers and exporters. It is an organic industrial supply chain, built without spreadsheets, consultants or industrial policy, just experience and volume. Some Ariaria clusters produce tens of thousands of shoes per day, not per year, per day. From Aba, products move across Nigeria, Lagos, Abuja, Kano, Jos, Onitsha, Uyo, Calabar, Warri, Port Harcourt. Then move across West Africa, Accra, Lome, Cotonou, Abidjan, Dakar. Then move across Central Africa, Douala, Libreville, Kinshasa, and increasingly, they move online through Instagram, WhatsApp catalogs, TikTok shops, diaspora distributors. Aba made is no longer a local phrase. It is a continental supply chain, and yet, this industrial engine operates with inconsistent electricity, poor road networks, minimal access to formal credit, limited government protection, almost no industrial subsidies, which raises a question. If Aba can do this without support, what can Aba become with support? For years, Made in Aba was once used as a mockery, a shorthand for imitation, low quality, or knockoff goods. But that narrative is collapsing. Today, some of Nigeria's fastest growing indigenous brands trace their manufacturing roots directly to Aba workshops. From leather shoes, to fashion wear, to luggage, to uniforms, to safety gears, Aba producers now supply military and paramilitary contracts. Corporate uniforms, vendors, sportswear manufacturers, retail chains, export distributors. What changed? 3 things. First, skill accumulation. Aba's apprenticeship culture means that young boys and girls spend years learning under master craftsmen, mastering techniques before launching independent workshops. This creates skill depth rarely found in factory-only environments. Second, market feedback speed. Unlike distant factories, Aba producers receive instant feedbacks from traders. Designs evolve weekly, quality improves rapidly, trends shift in real time. Third, branding consciousness. Younger entrepreneurs are no longer satisfied with anonymous wholesale production. They want labels, logos, packaging, online presence, retail identity. Today, Aba brands are exporting directly to diaspora markets, London, Houston, Toronto, Johannesburg, bypassing middlemen, and suddenly, Made in Aba is becoming what Made in Italy once was for leather goods, a market of craft density, not inferiority. Beyond footwears, Aba remains Nigeria's most important indigenous garment manufacturing hub. From George Street to Ngwa Road to Asa Road, tailoring clusters stretch for kilometers, producing uniforms, school uniforms, office wears, native attires, corporate branding outfits, sport kits, event merchandise. While imported clothing flood Nigerian markets, Aba tailors still dominate customized garment production. Why? Speed. A Lagos factory might deliver in weeks. Aba tailor delivers in days. Costs, customization, and adaptability. From political campaigns to church conventions to trade unions, uniforms to school enrollment seasons, Aba becomes Nigeria's wardrobe supplier. Some tailoring clusters processes thousands of garments weekly, employing cutters, stitchers, finishers, packagers, embroiders, designers, and sales agents. Again, No government industrial park, just organic enterprise. Aba does not exist in isolation. Its success depends on logistics. Every night, fleets of buses, vans, trucks, and articulated lorries depart Aba, heading north, west, south, and east. Goods flowing to Onitsha, Lagos, Ibadan, Akure, Ado-Ekiti, Ilorin, Makurdi, Jos, Bauchi, Yola, and Makurdi. From there, wholesalers push Aba products into rural towns, border markets, and informal trading corridors. At the ports, Lagos, Port Harcourt, Onne, Aba importers receive raw materials, leather sheets, adhesives, rubber soles, machinery, fabrics, zippers, buckles, packaging supplies. Some Aba traders import directly from China, Turkey, Italy, India, and Vietnam. Others partner with Lagos-based clearing agents, but increasingly, Aba traders bypass Lagos altogether, routing through Port Harcourt and on a port for proximity. Aba's economy is not local, it is regional, it is continental, and it is transnational. How does Aba fund itself without banks? The answer lies in rotational trust finance, daily contribution groups, weekly market associations, monthly saving clubs, trade union pooled funds, family-backed business capital, apprenticeship financing structure. In Aba, capital is social. You borrow from people, not institution. A master sponsors his apprentice's startup. A trade union finances equipment imports. A supplier advances goods on trust. A wholesaler extends credit to distributors. Banks exist, but Aba's real financial system is invisible to spreadsheets. It is built on reputation. Miss a payment, your name travels faster than credit reports. Keep your word, and your capital multiplies. This system allows thousands of businesses to launch annually without collateral, without paperwork, without formal risk assessment. It is chaotic, but it works. Aba's most powerful export is not shoes or garments, it is entrepreneurs. Every year, thousands of young men and women enter Aba's apprentices. From villages across Abia, Imo, Anambra, Ebonyi, Enugu, Rivers, Akwa Ibom, Cross River, Delta, and beyond, they arrive with nothing but hope. They live with skills, capital, supply networks, business confidence, commercial survival instinct. This system, known locally as Igbo Boy, remains Africa's largest private sector entrepreneurship incubator. Some apprentices train for 3 years, others 5, others 7. At the end, they are settled, giving startup capital, equipment, shop space, and supplier connections. Many return to their hometowns to open branches. Others remain in Aba. Some expand into Lagos, Onitsha, Port Harcourt, Enugu, Oyo, Owerri, and Asaba. Some eventually build factories, others become wholesalers, some become exporters, but almost all become employers. This is grassroots capitalism at scale, not through venture capital, but through communal trust. Despite its productivity, Aba has historically suffered from infrastructure neglect. For years, roads deteriorated into near impassable conditions. Flooding became routine. Power supply remained unreliable. Drainage systems collapsed. Industrial waste piled up. Businesses adapted, using generators, boreholes, private security, informal road repairs. But productivity losses mounted. Transportation costs rose. Damage to goods increased. Investment slowed. And yet, Aba did not die. Instead, it adjusted. Production shifted into residential compounds. Warehouses became factories. Workshops relocated into inner streets. Some manufacturers decentralized into surrounding towns. Osisioma, Obingwa, Okwa, Umuahia, outskirts. Aba became a distributed industrial cluster. But in recent years, state-level interventions have begun to reverse the decay, especially road rehabilitation, drainage reconstruction, and urban renewal in commercial corridors. For the first time in decades, Aba's infrastructure is beginning to align with its economic outputs, and the impact is already visible. Longer business hours, lower vehicle breakdowns, higher logistic efficiency, improved investor confidence. The city is breathing again. Aba is not only an economic engine, it is a cultural force. From fashion to slang to street innovation, Aba influences Nigeria's informal economy, culture. Trends born in Aba often spread nationwide, in clothing styles, footwear designs, tailoring cuts, bag patterns, and even trade vocabulary. Aba entrepreneurs are known for aggressive negotiation, rapid adaptation, market intelligence, resilience under pressure, street-smart logistics, low-margin, high-volume business models. Here, success is not about degrees. It is about instinct, not about pedigree, but performance. In Aba, if you can move goods, manage people, manage risk, manage cash flow, and survive volatility, you succeed. If not, the market eliminates you. This Darwin commercial environment produces some of Nigeria's sharpest business minds, many of whom later dominate markets nationwide. Many African cities trade, some manufacture, few do both at scale. Aba does. Unlike industrial zones that rely on foreign capital, multinational corporations, and government-driven factories, Aba is indigenous, decentralized, informal, self-financed, skill-driven, apprenticeship-powered, market-responsive. In Asia, cities like Yiwu in China and Tripur in India develop similar informal industrial clusters. But in Africa, Aba stands rarely alone at this scale, not because of government planned it, but because people built it. This makes Aba not just a city, but a case study in Africa's self-organization. The question is no longer whether Aba can produce, it is whether Aba can scale. The future lies in industrial parks, power clusters, export processing zones, quality certification labs, standardization centers, logistic hubs, digital trade platforms, access to development finance, formal supply chain integration. If even a fraction of Aba's informal manufacturer transitions into structured production, the city could rival industrial hubs across Asia and Latin America. With proper infrastructure, Aba could become West Africa's leather capital, Nigeria's garment manufacturing center, Africa's footwear export hub, a continental SME manufacturing powerhouse. But the raw material is already here. The skills exist, the labor exists, the markets exist. What remains is policy alignment and investment courage. Aba's story is not just about shoes, it is about possibility. It proves that industrialization does not always start with factories. Entrepreneurship does not require Silicon Valley. Capital does not always come from banks. Growth does not always follow policy. Sometimes growth follows people. Aba teaches Africa that development can emerge from bottom-up energy, from workshops, apprenticeship, trust networks, and relentless hustle. It teaches that even without perfect infrastructure, imperfect systems can still produce extraordinary outcomes. And most importantly, Aba teaches that dignity can be manufactured, not imported, manufactured. Aba is not perfect, but Aba is powerful. It is messy, but it is productive. It is informal, but it is intelligent. It is underestimated, but it is unstoppable. This city, built not by government, but by hands, continues to manufacture livelihoods, futures, and dreams at a scale rarely acknowledged. And yet, Aba asks one simple question: if we can do this with nothing, what could we become with something? If you believe Africa's future lies not in aid, but in enterprise, not in import, but in indigenous production, not in dependency, but in dignity, then Aba is your proof. This is 1010 Media, telling Africa's success stories the world refuses to amplify. If this documentary changed how you see Aba, like this video, subscribe to 1010 Media, share this story with someone who still thinks made in Aba is an insult. Because now, it's a badge of honor, and Africa's industrial future is already being stitched, molded, cut, assembled, packaged right here in Aba. Thanks for watching.